I'm Brandon.
And I'm Jesse.
We're Cannabis School. Having cannabis-infused conversations
with everyday people,
cannabis companies,
celebrities,
and your mom.
Welcome to the Sesh.
It's the most calm you've ever been in your entire life because the attention to detail that you get. Like your
That's
brain.
That's why motorcycle riding. Through the curves and stuff, because all that I can see is I am so focused on, is there a tiny rock in the way? Is there a hole in there? I'm also looking at the trees. I'm looking at the corner. Like, do I have to adjust my angle? Do I have to, it is a constant, your mind exists only in that moment. Mm-hmm. And that was why it was so peaceful, because all the fucking stress of the world, it was like, it's gone.
Because you couldn't think of anything because you were focused on survival. Yeah. You put yourself in the most survival.
Yeah, because I was like, how do I get myself? So it was like, well, I'm going too slow. My mind's thinking all these things. Well, you know what happens? If I speed up and I lower my angle through this corner, my focus becomes only in this corner. Nothing exists but this corner. Nothing. And so that was what it was. And I was like, I could die at any second here. Something could happen. I could slip out. I could hit it. Like, I could die in the second. But in this very second, I'm fucking happy. Nothing else matters at this very second. Nothing.
Yeah.
Everything else has disappeared because it is only this moment.
Well, and that's what I think what got us really into the racing game is that feeling. You can synthetically create some of it for a little while. And only when when I do the races, I don't sweat.
No, only when I race you.
Yeah.
Only when I race you.
When I race you, I sweat.
The AI and stuff, like, it's good. And some of them, it's like, some of the weekly challenges are like, oh, this is more of a pain in the ass. But it's never like Jesse and me kind of. And so it's like everything is so focused then because.
Well, and it really does.
It
goes to show with it, like, are you thinking of just survival or are you thinking of winning? Yeah. And if you think of winning, you start to lose right away. And that's where, like, you'll be like, oh, yeah, you're just kicking ass. But then you'll be like, oh, you took pity on me. You're like, no, I fucked up. I was trying to win. Yeah. And because of that, I gassed it too hard on a corner. And, that segues perfect into what we're talking about today on the Sesh. When you're trying to achieve something right away and you want it now, you want that feeling now. And you're thinking about the end product now.
Yeah.
You start to slip and you make bad choices. You hit the corner wrong. We were talking about Gran Turismo, one of our favorite games. I know some people are like, no, the mechanics are so much better. I don't care.
Yeah.
This is our jam. And the feeling you get, especially when we started getting into that Honda, the NSX racing one, the concept, so fast.
But it's at that time when everything else disappears. Yeah. And there's not a lot of things that would do that in my life. There was moments in racing four-wheelers with my brother where I would be right behind him 50 plus miles an hour within inches, and we're going, like, sliding around corners, doing all this. Nothing exists but that moment. Nothing else. Same with those motorcycle riding where it was like or our racing, and there's like those moments where everything else, all the other stress, every other thought about the past, the future, it's all gone. It doesn't matter. It didn't matter how many dollars I had in my pocket or what job I had lined up or what meeting was in the future or what argument I had with, someone in the past. Nothing existed in that moment but the curve, that feeling, nothing else. And we find those things, but I feel like so much of our life is just pulled away from the present moment. God, where you're talking about that this was going to be a mental health episode, and it's funny because, like, I just finished The Art of Happiness.
Oh, cool.
Dalai Lama one.
Yeah.
And I started a book that I did not think would be at all on happiness, The Alchemist.
Oh, yeah.
And yet I think I have found more insights into happiness in that first half of the book in probably intentional, but unintentional in my gathering, but like probably very intent in his writing. I hope someone gathers this from this book because there was just so much of it, like just following your purpose. And it was like when you truly believe and you put your whole soul into something, you thrive beyond anything. And the universe, whatever, gives you
aligns.
everything that you need. And I thought about it and I was like, that was kind of like my fast at the best times. I was there doing all this stuff. I like every time that I wanted to align something, that I put in all of my effort, all of my energy, that I'm like, fuck it, I am all in. I am all in. It always turned around. It always became this incredible thing. And I thought about it, and it was actually a thought this morning, because maybe like many of you, I've never really done therapy. I did it once, and that was when I was 21, 22, brand newly married, whatever. And all I got from that therapist was that I am a horrible person.
That's how you felt?
No, that's what they told me.
Oh, okay. So verbatim.
But like the
what did they
words
say?
that actually came out was, oh God, it's been over 10, 15 years. I don't remember, but it was like, I was a terrible person.
That's what you took from it.
And I was like, cool. Well, this is what I learned from therapy. And I never went back. So
understandably so.
This morning, like, I was sitting down and I saw something on TikTok about like, oh, hey, I talked to chat and this is what I did. And I gave it these questions. And it was like, hey, ask me these questions. I want to work through this. And it was from this therapy standpoint. I was like, huh, I've never gone through any of that. That might be a really interesting approach. So I sat down, gave it those questions, and I made it about 2 of the questions in 10. But then you called me and we started talking and that. But it was kind of this realization of like, I've got a lot of fear. Even with cannabis school. And I was like, why have I never gotten all in? Why have I not actually given it my all? Why have I been like 1 foot in, 1 foot out? Why have I done that? And I was like, it's fear, because if I jump all in and I give it my all and I try really hard and it doesn't go anywhere, then I feel like I'm an incredible failure.
Well, I understand that, especially from your upbringing and things that have happened in your past, because it's this constant struggle of self-worth.
Yeah, and that was it. Was this realization of like, oh, well, you've had conditional love, that love was conditioned on you meeting all of these requirements and being that. And I was like, fuck, I never actually thought that I had conditional love. Like my distant family, like whatever, but like I didn't think about that. And I was like, shit. But the Alchemist was like, that book talked about how when you put whatever all in, like you are all in, this is it, like your soul is in that, the universe helps you. And I was like, well, maybe the reason why is because I've been too afraid to just be me, because who I was always, well, you have to be this, you can't do this, you have to do this, you have to act like this, you have to do this, or, oh, you're acting this way, well, that way was just me, so I am not acceptable as this. I have to conform to this, or I have to fit within this narrative that you're telling me. Well, you're loved once you do these things, or you're loved once you accomplish this stuff. Well, why do I have, and so it was this realization this morning of like, fuck, I would have done so much more on socials and stuff and all of these other things if I hadn't had this fear. If I hadn't had this fear of like, I might not be lovable, I might not be good enough, I might not have this if I didn't do that. And I was like, fuck, man. So I was like tearing up as I was talking with chat this morning, because it was a realization of like, I'm not going to be worthy of love if I don't hit those things. And I was like, man, that's really shitty. I have taught myself that my love to myself is conditional.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, so even as much as I've not wanted to be like my parents in certain aspects, I am just like that, where even as much as I've taught myself, hey, Brandon, you're only worthy of love if you've earned it, even from yourself. You're not worthy of this if you haven't met all these stupid things. And I was like, man, that's really shitty. That was this like realization I had this morning through there. And I was like, man, what would I be like if I put my whole soul into it? If I just jumped both feet in first, going, fuck it. This is me. I am all in. I am unashamed, unafraid. I am in. And it was this like, holy fuck, I don't know what that would feel like. And it was like, I think kind of sparked from like meeting with Jeremy yesterday. And we had Jeremy on an episode of the Marijuana Mormon. Fantastic guy. Go find that episode. Go listen to that.
Yeah, we'll have him back on.
Yeah, one of the best hearts I think I've in a human. But talking to him yesterday and just had some realizations. And he was like, Brandon, your other show, I was really sad when you stopped that. And I was like, yeah, I talked with Jesse about that. And again, fear. What if what I put out isn't good enough? What if I am not worthy enough? What if I create isn't deemed as valuable or seen as what I hoped it would be? Then am I not worth enough? Am I not valuable because I'm not holding this? And again, we've talked about, a lot of men's value comes from how much money am I bringing in? How safe is my family? Is my spouse not working? What? And this is what we equate to in our purpose and our value in that. And like, hey, I'm only valuable when these things are done. And as a man, that like strikes you to your core of like, that's what it was. That was what the question was if all of this doesn't happen, if that doesn't, all of this effort I have done, what am I? What am I? If I haven't hit all these things, if I don't have this value, what am I? If I don't have value. And we're like, fuck.
Can I share something with you?
I'd love to. Yeah.
One of the things I've loved about really, and I've gone beyond the surface level of 12 shapes. I've developed a lot of things into my own. And
it was just a tool to help you find.
Well, it helps me to understand people in front of me.
And yourself.
Yeah. But I will tell you this right now. What you are saying is 20 years of Kim Giles gathering information. And it's so spot on, my friend. You're in the shapes where you're defining on that one. It's regardless of that one. It's a rectangle. And for me, all it is a placeholder to tell me the information below. And what you were saying in their rectangles have an identity crisis consistently. You stated many times in there that what am I? And it's a misplaced identity because you've never been able to form it based upon nurture and nature. They're one and they intersect with those. There's natural things, but there's nurturing that will actually able to do that. Your mom is a rectangle. And your mom suffered the exact same all throughout her life. What am I? So it didn't matter based on success or monetary gain. What typically happens is that you're just so focused on that you're always having difficulty being able to identify who you are. And identifying who you are is the value that you seek. You want to understand, well, yes, I'm intrinsically valuable to the world and to my kids and to my girlfriend and to my buddy and everybody around me. But that doesn't matter unless you find value in who you are. So one of the things that I've had a struggle with too, just like you, is, well, what am I? I don't provide enough. I don't do enough. And yet, who makes that judgment?
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I am now creating my perception
and conditional value.
Well, but
on ourselves.
It's the perception and perspective, right? Your perception is not the perspective. And so when you start being able to pull it back up, where a perspective is what we believe is so, but the perception is possibilities. We're always in this perspective mode. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I don't bring this. I don't provide that. We always start associating this with the physical need of what our life is like. And you find it funny that it's typically when you're at your lowest that you continue to pull you're just like, down. I'm going to dig my way out of here. And you start digging down like, I thought you were. I know.
Yeah, eventually, but you such a piece of shit.
It'll bust through the other fucking China. Yeah. But I mean, just like, how we always joke around that you dig a hole so deep you go to China. But it's that idea that we think we've got to suffer. Yeah. We've got to be something that we perceive as being valuable. And then that perception turns into reality as perspective. So when we can look at it as a third party, because I was having this conversation this morning with my friend Nate, and it's this idea that we see ourselves as these needing to be perfect.
Yeah.
Like a friend of ours who got hair transplant, like I think that was great, but it was also very strange for me because I was like, yeah, but you change yourself. And I really like you. I still like you. I love you, but what the fuck? And that's the first thing that came to my head. I'm like, why would you do that to yourself? And they're going, well, haven't you thought, Jesse, of being able to enhance yourself? Yeah, but
maybe it's a confidence thing.
Yeah,
I think it's like
I won't be taken seriously,
or like
I'll be seen lesser than.
How many women get a boob job after having kids because they feel like, hey, I'm not the same as I used to be, and I want to do this because it'll make me feel better about who I am, and maybe that's because we as humans aren't inherently taught to be confident and just, hey, you're a beautiful human, like you don't need to change and become someone different than you are.
Oh, and I don't see augmentation as a bad. I mean, I think it's good if both sides can be onto it. Like if my wife came to me and said, Jess, it's titty time, and I'd be like, all right, shit, just don't get too big. Like that's all I'm gonna say. It's like if you're gonna feel good about it, I'm gonna feel good about it because you feel good about it. I feel bad. Like Jeff Bezos' wife. Like I was joking around about it. They look like they're Batman villains.
Yeah. See, mine is just if the other person feels, and this comes down to confidence and the relationship you've built, but like I would never want my partner to feel like they have to do it for me, because I would never want that to be like a, hey, you should change who you are. Like why would that make any difference in who you are as a person and how I treat you, love you, see you at the end of the day, And that's what I would never want to be conveyed of, like, hey, you're doing this because you feel like I don't see you as sexy or that as someone who has this type of thing, and so you're looking to change because you're feeling like that. But versus like, hey, I feel like this is what I want for me because it would make, and that's fine. If that's
it could be a double-sided sword on that side, for sure.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Well, I want to go to the gym because I want to have bigger arms because I'm a fucking twink. Like that's understandable. I
totally get that.
Same thing. It's not a shameful thing. It's just I don't want you to do it. Like I don't want to go, well, shit, I need to go work out because I'm not going to be good enough for her if I don't do this. Like that's not how it's that same type of thing that I never want that type of relationship. And maybe that's what it is it's not a cosmetic thing. I just as a human, and that's not saying that's what that is.
No.
It's just,
I mean, on the other side of
because I've also had a partner who's,
augmented
and been very in that realm. And I've been like, I don't want this to seem like I'm the one pushing this or that you have to do it. Because,
no, but you also don't want to be able to put yourself in a place where you're trying to force something to yourself as well. I mean, there are things that I find attractive about my wife that I love. If she wanted to work out, do her thing, make herself whatever, cool. I'll appreciate the shit out of it, right?
Because that's for her, and who
that's
cares?
like somebody detailing their car. It's like, yeah, it's nice. And then when they detail it, you're like, shit, that's shiny.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool. Like, I mean, and that's the way I see it. Like, I work out because I'm vain. I'll admit that. Most people are. Matter of fact, all of you are. If you have a fucking mirror, you're vain. Period. You want to make sure you look a certain way. If you didn't care, you'd look like John the Baptist. You'd be like, I mean, I imagine him being like totally disheveled, wearing a burlap sack, dirt on his face, beard all messed up, and he's reaching in this bag, pulling out honey-covered locusts, and just like
that's some real hippie shit right there.
Hardcore, real crunchy guy. He's from Denver. Anyways,
I was like, that feels like some Oregon stuff.
Yeah, no, right against the border. But I mean, man, it's like you can really be okay with both sides saying, hey, I'm comfortable with what I like. I don't have to be forced to like something because I'm not into it. If I wasn't into my wife, we wouldn't be together.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be together. But I've had those relationships in the past where I was with them because I was like,
I was like, sometimes people are in that though. And so that's
it's
a
hard
shitty place to be too.
It is. And I think what you were saying is really commendable, because that's when you're doing, you don't have to tell somebody, they go, do I look fat in this? So like, yeah, I mean, I'm glad you asked. You never say that, but you would say, what would bring you to that question? Not why. Don't ever just get rid of why in your vocabulary. What would bring you to how?
Yeah.
How does that affect me? Like, do you believe that I feel that way about you?
Yeah.
And they go, no, I don't like the way I feel. I totally understand that. That's valid. What don't you like about how you feel? And then if they start like my wife, she's like, I want to work out more.
Yeah.
And I'm like, cool. Like, I'm there to support you. And if you want to go, let's go together. If you can't go today, that's fine.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that I'm just like, she goes, you go to work out to look good. I'm like, yeah. The fact of like visibility. One thing that made me question TRT I was at this, like I told you, I what's it called?
Smoke some weed.
No. I mean, that's, no, it was a social event. I saw it was on Facebook, and my friend was going to it in business, and I thought it was a networking event. Didn't know I was crashing a high school type reunion with a bunch of guys who played sports together. And so I show up, and these guys are giving me weird ass looks like, what class did we have together? I don't remember that guy. And then somebody asked me, they go, what do you do? And I'm like, I smoke weed professionally. And they go, what? Yeah. Got a lot of sponsors. It's pretty cool. Competing next week. And that's when I said that. The guy goes, what? Competing?
That's hilarious.
Right? Yeah. I'm in the Smokeathon.
Yep.
Smokeathon 2025. Yeah, you have to smoke like 6 joints back to back.
Yeah.
Chain smoke them.
You heard readathons where he was like all day long reading? It's the same thing. Just, yep.
Yeah, your lungs are toast.
Oh, man.
But no, it was funny because when I was there, man, these guys, all of them were jacked. And they're all in their 40s. I mean, they're all jacked. Like, you could see them all. And I was high, and I go, and I'm just looking around, and these guys are talking about something, and then there's a quiet lull where these dudes that I've never met all of a sudden became my friend. And I'm like, man, this is like a TRT party. Everybody's jacked. And then they all start laughing. And then I went to another event the next day, and this guy sat down. I'm all, TRT? And he goes, yeah, baby. And I'm just like, because you're seeing guys in their late 30s, mid 40s, mid to late 40s like myself, and I'm on testosterone replacement, and I'm lowering it. This other guy convinced me to go lower.
Yeah.
Because he was like at 160, and he's telling me he's taking 4 units a week. And I'm like, what? I'm taking 10. And I'm jacked. And they start telling me about stuff like getting blood work done, like constantly giving blood. And I'm like, why? And they're like, oh, dude, because your hemoglobin goes up, and so your blood's thicker. And I'm like, shit, blood pressure, headaches. That's my problem right now.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I gotta make an appointment so they can pull a bunch of blood out of me.
That's crazy.
Which is good because the TRT had actually prepared me for that, because I kept sticking myself with needles. And that was just because I was having fun, and then I got steroids.
Right.
But it's just like, what the fuck? This guy's like Albert Fish.
Yeah,
If you know. I'm not going to go into detail about that.
Tuesday evening activities. It's like, I don't have anything better to do. Young Men's is out, so.
But it was just crazy. These guys were all doing it not because they wanted to be healthier. They were I don't know many guys who get on TRT to be healthy. They get on it because their buddy looks jacked.
Yeah, and they want to look jacked.
Dude, you lose weight.
Oh, it's the Ozempic for men?
No, it's always been that way because your testosterone is able to burn what you have faster. This is what kept you young. You were like, oh yeah, like you have the metabolism of a teenager.
Yeah, it's
right, which is amazing. For me, it's like, if I wanted to do that, I starve myself all day long. That's what I would have to do to cut down to that. So I maintain a good balance of protein. But dude, it's like thinking about like, and I won't go into the workout stuff right there. I apologize. But what I'm trying to get to is that men have the exact same thing. Women are typically seen as they have to be perceived a certain way, not for other men, but for other women. Guys get jacked, not for women, but for other men. So we're doing slightly gay shit, but not. And it's just like, what are we doing here? And the reason why we're doing it is that whole thing of what you had just talked about earlier, that very emotional, very raw feeling that while I was smiling, I'm like, you're so a rectangle. And it made me laugh because I'm like, I feel bad because you don't know you have an identity, but you do. You're the researcher. You're the guy that can get things done. You're the guy that goes, the calendar, which one? Cool, I'm sticking to that. Jesse, calendar, all right, those are guardrails. But if I have an open calendar, I go, what's Brandon doing? And I'll give him a call randomly, and I'll steal an hour and a half, 2 hours of his time talking about fucking nothing. And, that's the thing. It's like, it's a good conversation, don't get me wrong. And we get into some really good conversations that pour over into this. But I will say that it's when we are start to understand our limitations, we can't see them as limitations. We just see like, that's not my superpower. And I need to lean into my superpower. And that superpower for you is organization. It's being able to plan it out. It's to make sure that things are on time. Like what you talk about, even for vacationing or things like that, like you're like, hey, I got this time for this. This is what I'm given. Yeah. If you have time for your daughter who's here, you go, okay, I got to get off. I'll talk to you later. It's 2:30. I'm hanging out with Addie for the next 2.5 hours. We're going to go do this. And so that's awesome because you've got it in that way where this is the way you see life. Well, dude, the value you bring is everywhere you do it, right? With Cannabis School, this wouldn't be Cannabis School without Brandon, period, 100%, right? And as Cannabis School has grown, he's done 98% of it. I've done a few things. But you know, it's work because of how we are, what we've done. I mean, a lot of my ideas birth what we've created here, and we just add. We don't say, oh, you came up with this or I came up. This is ours. And so as we've been building and doing this, he has this idea that it's all been for nothing. How many of you out there right now would think that? Absolutely not, because every individual that listens to this thinks that this podcast is made just for you. And Brandon made that comment about it. We make every episode just for you. And you need to think of it. It's an individually wrapped package that we give to you every Tuesday and Thursday. Because why? Because he has passionate way. He took his ability to be able to use research and timeliness and created this. He truly did. He created all of this, the lighting. I mean, the decor is grandpa's, and if we could get rid of it, we'd be fucking rid of it. But this is way more comfortable than the hard-ass chairs.
Oh my God.
Brutal.
Had to get cushions just to sit in them for that long.
And the thing is, I'm over here like mentally jacking you off of saying how awesome you are. What I'm trying to point out is that those are superpowers that you have, my friend. And that's why, like, what I've really appreciated about the 12 shape system is that I can understand my faults. And usually it's my faults, not I cause something to other people, but it's a sign of, hey, when you're not okay with you, this is some things to watch out for. And so they become like red lights flashing to me. And I go, like, I've said shit in the middle of a conversation, which I would do all the time. And it was manipulative, but I would be like, and I'm mad. And I'm saying this just because I'm mad and I can be mad. And I know I'm not making any sense. And I've said that to Steph and she's just like, what? But I'm trying to get rid of the negative filter as much as possible. It's always going to be there. But I'm trying to get rid of that negative filter that I have about myself because it's so easy to look at the negative things. Because even when they say that, oh, nobody at my work gives a shit about me until I mess up. And then they're like, you, Brandon, you're fired, you piece of shit. And you're like, no, dude, that's pre-manifest destiny. You brought that light to you. If you have that negative view about yourself, that negative view is going to be magnified to everyone around you.
Yep.
So when you say those things, man, I get it. I feel for you.
It was just this whole first time of, I've never actually done therapy. And it was this going through and talking through stuff. And I was like, oh, damn, like this is, yeah, that's like my mushroom trip.
Yeah, but
that's I did mirror work. And I was like, this is deep.
Every day, though, man, for you, there is a struggle. There's a struggle in every single one of us to try and prove value because our world is only based on value. 100%. That's how we feel. Well, no, it's 100%. I mean, there's not anything in this life, these microphones, the shitty couch, the bong, the grinder, everything is all based on a monetary value system. We judge and we live and strive off of the monetary system. Whether it's good or bad doesn't matter. It's just what the reality is. So we tie that to our physical belongings. If we didn't really give a fuck, we wouldn't live in the city. We would live out like Burt's Bees guy. Watch a documentary on that guy. You'll be like, I could have millions of dollars and live in a tiny home. It's literally the size of this loft.
Oh, whoa.
That's his house.
Oh, that's crazy.
He looks like an old crazy dude.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just like the bees. And he created a great product and somebody commercialized it. He doesn't have anything to do with that.
No, he wouldn't.
But the thing is, it's like, that's a rarity. That's a rarity.
He put his whole soul and passion into it, and someone else found it and was like, hey, I could sell this. we can make a lot of money. And he's like, oh okay.
And
Sure.
that's where you got the point. That's a fantastic segue, dude. Your purpose is the soul of who you are. And it's not fear that keeps you from being able to do it. Because I'm going to let you know something right now, dude. You've already been doing it. You've already been doing it. Here's the thing.
Not
No.
both feet in, though.
No, but here's the thing. The reason why is that we've put a lot of hope into making this bigger. And it's slowly growing. And we need to realize that it takes a lot of time.
Yeah.
This is a maturing, very slow growing process. Our litmus is how many more people keep listening to it every week, new ones. And then our old episodes, like we see our new episodes, and because we got 2 episodes a week, the numbers weren't like what we did because we're comparing them based off of each episode instead of a cumulative. But you look at our older episodes, how many people are listening to that? It's crazy. And that means we've done something right. We've created something really cool together, but it wouldn't be here without you.
Oh, are you? Yeah, we can't.
Well, I know, but I'm saying like that's what's important is to see yourself as a part of something greater than just the value that you place on your home. Because that's where I've gotten to now is that I don't just love people because I should. I love them because I've been asked to. And because of that, I need to see their value in this life beyond it. And that's what's awesome about 12 Shapes, because now I look at people as superpowers. I don't look at their negative things. I go, oh, you like this. And then I ask them questions around that. And then they go, how the fuck did you know that? Like, that's my favorite thing. They think I'm a mentalist. And so it's super, but it's not. It's calculated things that have grown into our behaviors. And those behaviors dictate like how you eat cereal, how you like to cut pizza, how you make your sandwich. It's all unique to you. The only people who have to do it all the same time is Subway, right? Got to make it the same way all the time, which is great. But for us, we're individuals. And so because we may not make the coolest looking sandwich that dude at Jimmy John's does,
or Jersey Mike's,
right? It doesn't matter because it's the way that you create it. And so the judgment of ourselves is only coming from ourselves. And the world around you, like you take some guy who looks like, there's a guy I saw, I mean, he looks like a Miami Vice back in the 1980s villain. He's got like a white suit. He's got gray hair, but it's slicked on the sides, and it's like a pompadour hair. And he's driving in a fucking like Maserati or in a McLaren.
Yeah,
he looks like a tool. But I'll tell you what, like he's changed his approach, and a lot of people like talking to him. He looks different, but it doesn't matter because he's comfortable. He's like, you know, you look like a Miami Vice villain. You're like, yeah, fuck yeah, I do. I look great too. You see the car came in? Yeah. I like my car. No need to compare. What piece of shit do you drive?
Yeah.
No, the car doesn't make the man. It's the man makes whatever it is, right? And I'm not saying that as, you know, a sexist term, but I'm talking from a man's perspective. I can show up in t-shirt, jeans, and still feel like $1 million. I can go talk to those people who may be really influential or they're really well connected. I don't give a shit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm there to connect. I'm there to make a friend. I'm not there to buy things or get money. And so when I leave that behind, I actually get more opportunities that way. And I've been doing the same thing as you, man. I haven't been putting both feet in because I didn't realize that I was doing it, but I was playing hopscotch. I was jumping from one to the next because I'm like, okay, we need to do all of this or do this, but not realizing that it's a game. And I can hop to each one, be both feet in, 1 foot in, but I need to be able to figure out how to keep this going. And so because we've been seeking money, we've been wanting to grow things, we've been doing everything. I mean, we started a business. It didn't fail. It's still around, but it's still like, fuck, what do we do with it? And that's the good thing. That's the good thing because we don't base it upon the money that's in our account. It's what you've done on the journey. And I'll tell you what right now, man, I don't take back any of the years of poverty that I've gone through because I'll tell you right now is that I'm trying to pass that on to my kids and anybody else that I can inspire to saying it's worth it. It's worth it to live. It's worth it to try. Who gives a shit if you don't have the cool ass job that takes most of your life away and you don't use it to grow? Any job out there you could use to grow yourself personally, but we don't. It's just a job. You show up, you fucking do it, and you go home.
Yeah, that was the Alchemist thing, it was like the boy at the beginning was a shepherd, but his soul was 100% into that until it wasn't. And then he went in and he was a crystal salesman for a guy's crystal shop, and he put his whole soul into that, spent a whole year doing that, and it was crazy how much it grew. And then he went on his journey to go continue finding his treasure in that. Like, but it's this thing of like, how many things do we put all our energy into? Do we really go all into? How many things do we tap the brakes and go, you know?
And we're fascinated with those. Like, I got fascinated. I saw this whole guy take Converse All-Stars and turn them into like it looked like Doc Martens. After he was done, he put this like tread on him and this leather thing to make him waterproof around the edges. And it was like,
that's cool.
But the whole process he showed.
Yeah.
He cut the rubber around to fit the shoe size that he was making it for. He stitched the leather slowly.
Yeah.
And it was just like, he put both feet in.
Yep.
And we don't see enough of that because we have commoditized our entire lives.
Well, it's because we can't have full value and purpose if we're both feet in. Hey, you've got to be, it's what? You got to have a side gig. You've got to do this. You've got to do this. You've got to be everywhere all at once, because we can't be fully into one thing. We can't be doing this. And it's like,
that's why we're on social media all the time. Like, I even fell back into that trap. So I'm like, okay.
After
tomorrow I'm going the weekend.
I was thinking about it last night and this morning, just because I've started noticing habits of opening email, refreshing. What am I looking for? Because there's no one I have reached out to who's reaching back. Yeah. Everything else is automated. Seeking. What am I seeking? And if I'm seeking, why am I not actually doing work to seek or grow that? Like, what is it that I'm waiting for to just appear in my lap?
Yeah, it's the idea that you are seeking, but you're not. You're wishing.
Yes.
You're trying to manifest it in a way that doesn't work
without. Yeah. Hey, I want these bigger arms, but I don't want to do the work. I don't want to do a workout, but like, what if I like flex in the mirror? Are these going to get bigger? Like, am I going to double in size if I flex a couple times?
Dude.
Or am I actually going to have to get off my ass? Am I going to go to the gym? Am I going to have to lift up the weights and do the reps to grow?
Yeah.
And that's what I think a lot of it is most of the time it's those reps of like, but what if?
Well, dude, that's just same thing with like, belief. One of the things that I've been, I'd heard from somebody that I care about. They go, I pray and I pray and I pray and nothing comes to it. Nothing comes, and it's just so hard because I'm not getting my answers. And I was listening. I cut my lawn. I love cutting my lawn because it gives me time to listen to things.
Yeah. And
I like to listen to either a book or I like to listen to the Bible. And I listen to the more modern version. And it was great because I had this realization, like, this idea where we think that if we just put our whole heart into praying or something like that, asking a God or whatever to take away our pain or to bless us with fortune or whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But if we look at from the commandment standpoint, it's like, yeah, dude, I'll help you. But guess what? You got to follow these things. And the second one is to love your neighbor, love yourself, and love thy enemy. When you think about that, really, you're going, oh, but even to love my neighbor, I have to allow them to love me for who I am, in my faults, in my issues, even in my poverty.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be ashamed. And because we place shame on those things, that's why it becomes. But when I realized that, going, look, it just like what you stated, you can have all the faith you want, but if you don't put in the work,
doesn't mean anything.
It's not going to come to fruition. It's like those people who only work at a job to make money.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I talked to this one guy in the hallway at church, and he was like, no, I grew up very conservative. I worked really hard. He goes, I made 6 figures one year, but I didn't see my family ever. And I'm like, what? He's like, I worked nonstop because he was an electrician. And I'm like, oh, no, it was something else he did. If he was an electrician, he was only making.
He should be making.
Get out of here. But I mean, he's an old guy and retired, and he was telling me about his son, who's like trying to think of unique ways to make money.
Yeah.
Now he doesn't, like we were talking about, unhealthy relationship with money, where he gets the money, he invests in something, sells it, makes a lot more money, and then spends all that money. And then goes, how do I make more money?
Instead of just continuing to do it and not spending the money, but just because you can take percentages of it as you invest instead of spending all of it and continue to grow it. But most of us go, well, fuck, look at all this money. Now I can buy all these things that I've always wanted. Now I'm going to be so happy. And then we end up sitting in a nicer car. We end up sitting in the nicer house. We end up having the couch or the extra PlayStation or the new phone or whatever it is. And we're still feeling the exact same. And we're going, well, I'll be happier once I do this or once I get this or once I... And we're chasing this happiness that's like...
Dude.
It's not in these items that we're working so hard to buy.
There is and I don't know if the filmmaker actually made it this way, but it became very philosophical. It might have been the weed. But it was a very good movie called Hell or High Water. And it's with Chris Pine and another guy I don't remember, and then Jeff Bridges. And it's about these brothers who rob banks in Texas.
Okay. Oh, you were telling me.
And what was philosophical about it is that it talks about the perpetual need for things. And you need things all the time. And there's two different main characters who have different objectives. One of them is to do nothing but get money to spend money. The thrill of making money and then spending it and then making it again. No real purpose, just the fact of a snake eating its tail.
There's a thrill. And
then the other character, they have a goal. I need to take care of my family, not just now, but for a real long time.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to do some hard stuff. I'm going to have to do some downright evil stuff sometimes because I can't just wish it. So I'm going to have to do some really hard work. Yeah. Evil meaning I have to be pulled away from my family.
Okay.
Now that character is divorced. His kids don't like him. They think he's a piece of shit. The other character, lawless. He just likes robbing banks. And he doesn't care who he hurts. He just wants the money.
Yeah.
This whole movie just talking about like how generational poverty is there and that how this guy wanted to change it for his boys. So he was going to do some real hard stuff to get there. And the thing that we don't do is we don't do hard stuff. We don't like, I'll tell you this right now, bro. And I know you feel it now and you feel totally different than before. But when we started doing like flow, it was scary and it was really fucking hard. It was harder because before when you did the other IT thing, it was a nice dream and it could have turned into a reality, but you didn't have your whole heart into it because you're just like, it's just to make money.
Yeah.
And doing what we did, like the thing that's awesome about it is you actually appreciate things more. You actually feel better about yourself. You have like your brother who's got a stable job saying, I wish I was doing more things like you. What he's saying to you is that I wish I could let go of the fear I think is out there waiting for me. That demon, that monster of uncertainty or no set being paid. That's not a guarantee.
I mean, it is entrepreneur life where it's a lot of what ifs.
But you're a nomad. And then if you choose to, like what I'm doing right now, what you're trying to find as well, like I'm applying to jobs, Brandon's applying to jobs. But the thing is that I don't identify myself as a job anymore. And I'm like, this is just part of the process as long as I don't lose what we're trying to grow. Long as I don't lose that. And so I have that deep seated now in me going, I know what my purpose is here. And it's not to make dollars. Unfortunately, I have to. But right now, I know what our passion isn't necessarily going to sustain us. So I'm going, well, we can't lose that because we have a responsibility to everybody who actually looks forward to it. We're doing something for them, and that matters to both of us. But the other side is that we don't need to hope and dream and settle on it because then it becomes either it works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And it's also that doing that hard work of the things that just... hey,
doing the hard things.
This stuff, you do it every day and it ends up in the long term. You have shiny crystal that sells a ton and you end up making a lot more because they see that work. Or you see the shoe that, it's really put in the time. And you're like, oh, hey, look.
You appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's robust.
Mm-hmm.
It matters because value is perceived by the person. It doesn't matter what we may think about our podcast or who we are. It matters to the perception of the individual. And over time of them spending time with us, they start to gain a deeper perspective of us. They know that, I'm a Jesus freak and that it's unusual for me to be a Jesus freak. And And from when I first started, I was more religious because I felt like there was a reason why, there was an answer given to me at this time. And it was just the place. Who gives a shit where it was? It was just a place. So it was this awakening. And a lot of it had to do with cannabis. Cannabis being able to allow me to open up more, to accept more, to be more understanding, forgiving, and not because I'm addicted to it. I mean, yeah, I'm addicted to it, but not like I used to be. It's a difference now. I smoke with purpose. I don't just smoke because I'm going, well, it's 420 somewhere and let's just get high. It's more of like, okay, well, what do I need this for right now? Okay. All right, let's do this. And so it's become more medicinal when it started as more of curious. I don't consider it recreational because I never did like shit tons.
Oh no.
To get stupid high. Mm-hmm. So it was curious. And I think that's where there's a middle market in cannabis, is a curious market. But to go back to you, man, I mean, and you've done a lot and you place a lot into how others perceive you because you secretly perceive yourself of whatever they think of you. But if you go with the whole attitude, like with one of your brothers who's going, I want that. The reason why he wants that is because you fear nothing and he fears a lot. And the only reason why he feared because he was brought up to fear. He was brought up to go, this is it. The same with my dad. Same with my parents. My mom is the only one who really supported me on entrepreneurial shit.
Yeah. And
she always says, you'll keep making it. My mom's been talking to me about that for over fucking 15 years now, telling me, you're going to make it. And so, but you know what? I need that.
I love that for you. Yeah.
And, and that's what I feel for you too, man.
I hope you're listening.
I mean, you got to support him. But the support doesn't mean you have to enable him. It just says, look, I believe in you. You can do it. Yeah. And so, I mean, you know, I'm sorry if I berated you in a way like here, because I don't see that. I don't see that, not because I love you. I don't see that because I know you. I know who you are. I know the value you bring. And I know the value that you would offer anybody, relationship, business, etc. So it's not something that is bottled or felt like you can pull off the shelf and finally get that. Because you've already done that, where you've bought shit. You tried to give an ambiance feel with your ex-wife where she was all excess. You know, because, I mean, yeah, it's easy to get into that one, but it's unfulfilling. So when I tell people I don't give a shit about my car, I really don't give a shit about my car. Unless it goes really fast, and then that car would be in a garage that I would only take out on the weekends and race branded and hopefully not die.
Oh my God.
But that, seriously, I wouldn't be my daily driver. Why? No. Because it's for something, but it's not for my daily commute.
Oh yeah. Well, it was like Shelby. Most of the time it wasn't for riding to work. That was my entertainment. That was like riding up in the canyons and the mountains, going on like weekend rides. I didn't like riding it to work because that means freeway riding, boring riding. Like, it's not enjoyable. You've
got to have it. But dude, your place in this world is awesome because you have a superpower, and your superpower is organization. Your superpower is timeliness, and that's awesome. And that's awesome, dude. And if you've already been doing
never
it.
Be late.
Yeah, but dude, you've already been doing it, man. You've already been doing it. When you say you haven't been put both feet in there, the fuck? Do you guys feel like it's just been one foot?
I do.
I don't. And the only reason why is a lot from your upbringing.
Yeah, but
because you'll never feel like you're doing enough.
I know. Because it's you could always be better. You could always be doing more. That was not perfect. You were a little out of the lines. You got a B instead of an A. You
didn't hit an extra piano enough.
Your pinky nicked that extra note, so it wasn't perfectly clear. It was tainted, so
taint.
There's always room for improvement. You could always be better. And so
yeah, no, dude, I hope you see that way, man, and go back and listen to this again, because you really need to hear that, because it's not that we need a lot of people to like us. People also need to be able to appreciate those that and if you appreciate them for who they are, not like, gosh, Jed, he's so good at making meth in a Coke bottle. He's just good at it, and I really, Jeff,
I appreciate you,
Jeff. I just love how you make meth, bro. Like, even that, like, you could say that But maybe Jeff would change his life around going, maybe I could do something better. And then he invents
somewhere in the world, there's a
That's
Jeff
what happened.
making meth in a bottle.
And now he's making Ozempic.
About to change the world.
No, but dude, I mean, and that's total joke. But I'm meaning like if you recognize what other people are really good at, let them know. If you do let them know, then it's going to be like, well, why would you say that about me? Because you probably don't hear it enough. That's what I would say to somebody. It's probably because you don't hear it enough, and just leave it there.
Yeah.
I don't need them to go, well, I think you have a nice shirt. Yep. Stop looking at my tits and then walk away. Right?
Or start looking at my I don't know.
But you know what I mean? It's the concept of like, you know, the way you want to start seeing yourself, start seeing others. Start seeing others for who they are and how positive that they can be as an influence in the world. Not necessarily just walk around smiling like an idiot. Like,
unless you're really high, then smile
all the time. All the time. But you know, seriously, just think of it like that way. You want to start feeling a little bit better about yourself. Start looking at the positive things that are in other people. And I guarantee they're gonna start pointing out the positive things in you. And it's good to hear those things. It's not narcissistic. It's not being selfish. It's just being human.
Yeah, I like that. And with that, guys, I'm going to go get my hair cut so that I can be a little vain and a little bit prettier.
Oh, yeah. Why not?
We'll see you guys next week.
Take care.